We're a small community that has a lot of big aspirations. This is local government. If you want to be effective and you are a person that likes to serve your community, that you like to see things done that affect the people that are your neighbors, the people on the street, you have a direct impact on their lives. Your efforts are rewarded in front of your eyes. I would tell people to look at what the village has faced, where we've moved forward, what we're looking to do in the future, and you can be a part of the biggest growth transition in the new Ruidoso and the new Lincoln County.
Hello and welcome to The Clear Voice, brought to you by Clear Career Professionals. I'm your host, James Groom. Today we are highlighting multiple opportunities in Ruidoso, New Mexico through a PositionCast episode. Joining me as a recruiter for these roles and retired city manager, Kelly Kuenstler. Kelly, welcome back to the show. We're glad to have you on.
Good morning, James. Thank you. It's great to be here. We are excited this morning to have the mayor of the village of Ruidoso, Lynn Crawford, with us, and the city manager, Sena. We're going to get right into this and start out with Mayor Crawford, if that's all right. And Mayor, I would just like for you to share a brief overview of the village of Ruidoso, its priorities, its current challenges, and the vision that's guiding your leadership.
Sure. I mean, there's a lot packed into that because the one thing that's easy to talk about here in Ruidoso is the natural beauty. If someone hasn't been to Ruidoso and you think about New Mexico, a lot of times people think of desert. But we are truly the diamond in the desert. We go from the desert around us, Roswell, New Mexico, El Paso's and the Mexican border's 2 hours away. But you start climbing into the Ponderosa Pines. We're up here at 6,500, 7,000 feet. We have a mountain peak that touches 12,000 feet above sea level. We have a beautiful exterior. I mean, we have wild horses. We have elk population, wild deer. It's just beautiful here. We share our boundaries with the Mescalero Apache tribe and, of course, the county and Ruidoso Downs. We're home to the world-class Triple Crown of quarter horse racing. Outdoor activity is what we're about. We have quality of life, things that we have walking trails, downtown shopping. We're very robust as far as economies. We're close to West Texas and the oil field, so we have a lot of tourism. And that leads on to our industry, no question, is tourism. So we're a hospitality-based community where we want to cater to our customers, which are tourists. We have two types of tourists. We have the weekenders. We have people that just come in for a weekend getaway to either enjoy the tranquility. We do have fiber optics, so, if you want to be on the internet, you can. But what we really like is when people unplug, do a little walking, breathe in the fresh air, nature, look at all the things that are provided, and just decompress. That's one part. Then we have the part-timers, and those are folks that are from Texas and other parts of New Mexico and Colorado that own property here. And so they'll spend 3, 4, 5 months out of the year here constantly. And so we get to know those people pretty close. We're open government. That's one thing. I'm on my third term as mayor. Ron has been the manager of the year here in New Mexico. So we pride ourselves on excellence. But, we have a work-life balance that we really try to attain because we live in such a beautiful place. We want not just our citizens, but our employees to enjoy the place that they live and then try to get to maintain some affordability. Because anytime you talk about mountain retreats or tourism-based economies, it gets pretty restrictive on living and the cost of living. And, we're not real cheap, but we're nowhere near the highest. And when you compare us to other mountain resorts, we're very affordable. Now, we've had some challenges in the last few years, and people may have seen them. We made the national news, not in the best way, but with fires. We're surrounded by the Lincoln National Forest and the county forest, and then the tribal forests. And so there's a lot of legislation that we've been able to obtain, a change of thought, if you will, from the national process of fire suppression, all the gearing to putting out fire to mitigation. So we have a lot of mitigation, which is tree thinning, forest management, and it's really developing a new industry in this region. And indeed, we're a pilot project for a company called IPUSA, which is green energy conversion, and the village is going to be a leader in this field. And so we're really excited about an outside investment by a company of $145 million. We're due to have a groundbreaking in the next month, and it's making jet fuel from green waste, pine needles, trees, drop-in additives, fuels, biochar, and the byproducts are electricity and water. I mean, if that doesn't sound amazing, it is. It's not brand new technology, but the process and the patents are set in place. But this is the same thing that Europe and Germany and Italy have been doing for years to create fuel for all of their vehicles. So that's going to be right here, and it will be a nationwide leader. People think that that's hard to believe, but we've been able to attract other national, international events to the village. Ironman competition will be coming here for the next 3 years. Xterra is the other triathlon top class business, and they will have their world championships from here. And so it's going to be televised worldwide. So we have so many things to work, but with the fires and then the subsequent floods that we've had challenges. We've lost a lot of homes, over 1,300 homes. We have a lot of money coming in from FEMA, from USDA, other sources, private investment to help rebuild our community, to start a new Ruidoso 2.0, if you will. And so with that comes some challenges. There's a lot of emotion in the community, as you can well imagine. You know, if you've seen anything on TV with Maui and in California and the floods that were in Texas, you know, you've seen that there's been a lot of things that have happened. And Ruidoso is no different. Different that we have a very resilient community here. That doesn't mean that it's all simple, but we're in a position now to move forward. We've been able to acquire a lot of funding. And so we're looking forward to getting a lot of new roads, a lot of new things. But that being said, still the beauty's here. The walking trails are here. We have lakes that have unbelievable trout. Our river to have trout fisheries. We're working with Trout Unlimited. Our economy has rebounded significantly to where we're just under the numbers that we had, which were record numbers in 2023. And we're just really touching those. One of the things that we're a little bit concerned about, and we've been working hard for this last year to replace it, and that is our track, because it got washed out and it's going to have to be under construction. There's a lot of things that are still in question on will it be located at the same area or a new area. There's a lot of doubt in that. So we're working hand in glove with the state, the feds, the track ownership, and the other communities in the area on what is going to be best for the region. When it comes to management style, we hire good people. That's one of the things that I think that we've excelled at. We let them do their job. You know, we have meetings weekly on capital projects. We inspect what we expect. We want to make sure we have plenty of support with those people making the decisions, that they work together as a team with their departments, not in a silo, but as shared. And that's why we have meetings in the morning with different departments and directors and managers to make sure that all the information travels freely, that no one is an island. We don't expect a bunch of supermen and superwomen to do these things. We want top quality. We do work for excellence, but sometimes when you say that, it comes with this overbearing workload and domineering oppression, and that's not what we mean. We want to provide the tools so that you can expand on the knowledge that you have, the experiences you have, and then bring it to our community. We love to develop within, and we do that quite often, but we're looking for some true leaders. When you got a racehorse, you let them run, and that's what we want to do. And we want to be able to give a lot of the information. We have a comprehensive plan that we are getting ready to adopt by the council. We have master plans on different projects all over town. This guy over here is the king of grants. I mean, we get grants all the time. We have an airport that we've spent millions of dollars on. We're in the process of signing a contract with a regional airline to come in and start flying out of Ruidoso. So right now is an opportunity to really take a big step forward, to be the community that we want. Ruidoso was always a respite for West Texas, the desert areas I mentioned, to get out of the heat. When it's 100, 110, 15 in Texas, I mean, it's a good 80 to 85 degrees here, and that's only for a little bit. Then the cool pines, that's what we're calling. Come rest in the cool pines. Come to nature's playground. That's the way we bill ourselves. And so we're looking for somebody to add to the team, to add to the family. It's coming up on Easter, Good Friday today, so we have people out here in the offices hiding Easter eggs, for goodness sakes. We want to bring a little levity. We have a lot of potlucks here, celebrations of birthdays, work anniversaries, things of those nature. So it's a great place to build a career. Our insurance is second to none. We participate heavily in the Public Employee Retirement Association. We really do a lot to support our employees because we're only as good as the people that work here. And so we work hard to maintain that. I hope I covered all the questions.
I think you did, Mayor. You did a great job. Thank you. Just for the listeners, the track that the mayor is talking about is a world-class horse racing track. That's really something that you should look into. I want to talk to you a little bit, Mayor, about the council. How would you describe the level of engagement from the village council, both in terms of policy direction and their involvement in major initiatives in Ruidoso?
Sure. Thanks for that question. I'll tell you, one of the things with all newly elected and indeed our elected officials, we go through the municipal officers training program. Molly, myself, I'm the past president of the New Mexico Municipal League. So we're heavily engaged in that on training counselors what their responsibilities are, and just importantly, what they're not. It's not to micromanage, it's to take information, it's how to bring it to the council, how do we present it, how do we get the information. So that we have a workshop before the council meeting on the agenda items so that they're very familiar if they have any questions of directors or managers or contractors, that we get that information, we have it presented fully. And what we found out is if you have good information, factual information, reasonable people make reasonable decisions. When I got on the council years ago, it was fractured, it was argumentative. Frankly, it was loaded with ego instead of thought for the community. We have been able to eliminate that over the years to where the council, if you go back and look at the decisions, they're most always a majority, unanimous. We do have some disagreements, and those are usually on items that that are very complicated. And so usually those we set aside and we ask the community to come in, people that maybe have a vested interest, whether professionally, they've invested in it in property wise or whatever, come in and give their 2 cents. And then we really come at it from all angles to get that information so that the council can make the best decision for the community. We have public involvement. We have over 16 different commissions and committees, everything from Parks and Rec to Upper Canyon Historic Society to the Wingfield House Museum to the Cemetery Board, you name it, it goes on. Believe it or not, every one of those positions are full. That's how much the community's involved in those decisions. And so I know that we just came through an election cycle, so there's always a lot of fake posts on social media. A lot of those were from people outside the community that just like stirring the pot. But when you get to the community, one thing that you'll find out is people, whether it's a liberal or a conservative view, that when it comes to the community, people are very pragmatic, pull together in times of need and support, whether it's an outdoor function like we're going to have coming up, the big 5K run and the Easter egg hunt. There will be hundreds and hundreds of people out there in a small community of around 7,500 full-time residents, but we can balloon to 30, 35,000 or more on a busy weekend for tourism. So a lot of those kind of things bring the community together in a very good way.
Wonderful. Let's talk a little bit with City Manager Sena now, if we can. Would you talk to us about the structure of the village government?
So the structure is it's a mayor council form of government with a manager. And then from there, I have a deputy manager, directors and managers. That is for the entire community. So for the municipality. Also, what the mayor was saying about working with the governing body. When I started, we did have it was some rough times. There was instances where directors for whatever, if it was a utility department or solid waste or whatever, were really not allowed to even talk to council. We went to a council meeting, no one was prepared, no one was engaged, and we allow, if the council wants to go and visit the wastewater treatment plant and learn about it, truly, that's what we want. We want them to learn all the different departments. They understand what's going on, the day-to-day operations. And when we provide that information at the workshop and in the council meeting, they're getting the exact information needed to make the right decisions. So
Good, good. That's good. So the mayor talked a little bit about the way residents are engaged. For instance, he talked about all the many committees that you guys have and how they're all full. Give me some other ways that you engage the residents. And I'm particularly interested in the radio show that you all do. Tell me about that.
we've had the radio station now for, I think, right past COVID. We purchased a property where the museum is at, and the radio station it was an old storage building, like a carport, and we renovated that. And now we have a state of the art radio station. And what we do is the mayor leads the meeting on the radio show. We have directors from different departments that come in. We'll have the utilities manager, fire departments there. We have our PD there, and we go over just any type of, like the weekend. If the police department had some issues over the weekend, they provide reports on that. Any projects coming up, we provide those projects there at the meeting. Anything that we see that we want to be transparent on with the municipality. We also take the calls. Our radio engineer, he does have it. He gets text messages, and we answer the questions. If it's for a street department saying potholes, we find that information. We send our crews over there. That's one thing we pride ourselves is we're very transparent. We also have a newsletter. We started a newsletter, and it's now been several years now. I think back in 22 we started it, and we have all the information on there. We provide up to date on projects, goings on in the village and the municipality. We have partners, the school district, the hospital, and also provide information and all our tourism information. So the newsletter has been a great also way of communications for the municipality. At the time, the newspaper didn't have any local news at all when it came to what's happening in the village. So we created our own.
Social media
Well, exactly, just social media,
and websites and everything else.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah, another great ways to engage residents. Mr. Sena, how many FTEs do you have in the village budget, and what is your annual operating budget?
Currently, we have about 230 full-time employees. Seasonal, we have about 30 temporary that we hire for our pool. We have a WIBET and any other recreation type, or we hire interns to come in to learn from college that want to learn municipality, the municipal government. It's about $152 million annual budget, and that includes grants. We're a busy municipality, very busy. Our finance director, she worked for the city of Gallup, and they're a much larger community than the village. And she said over there it was not, and she was a finance director there. She said they were not even close to what we handle here when it comes to budget
Right.
and projects and everything that we're doing here with the village of Ruidoso. So we're very busy, and that's what we let everybody know is when you come over here, there's a lot of work. We continue it on, and we want workers, as the mayor stated. We want to be able to provide and train and them to become the next ones that are going to take over for the current employees.
Sure, sure, absolutely. So Ruidoso's a bit of a different recruitment for Clear Career in that we definitely have recruited for other cities and done a single recruitment and sometimes two. I'm doing two in Odessa, Texas right now, but we're actually doing 3 recruitments for Ruidoso, all director level positions. And so what I want to do with you, Mr. Sena, is I'd like you to talk about each of the positions that we have advertised for the village. So let's start out with the Economic Development Director position. Will there be any employees for this individual to supervise? Who does the position answer to? Give us information about this position.
So this is a new position working with the mayor that we wanted to create. We looked at doing a economic development corporation, and we thought, we need somebody in-house that directly that we could work with and go out and try to recruit businesses or whatever type of, industry to come into the village of Ruidoso. At this point, they will not be supervising anyone until we get that position filled, and then we'll look more into that. They'll report directly to me at this time. So,
Very
and
good.
but it is we've never had that position here with the village, so it is a new position.
Okay.
And that's to reflect that how much the village has grown with our GRT. And used to, we were so seasonal. Now then we have strong shoulder seasons. So we're looking to expand, but expand wisely, work with LEDA and TIDS and different things that we are offered through the government that we can take advantage of, and to be able to give the most ability to support our businesses. But I think this is a wonderful position. I do think that eventually there will be several other people working in that department, working with economic development state of New Mexico and whatnot, and the EDA with the feds. Just a lot of things that Ron's doing, I'm doing. We just need people better than me and people with longevity that can run this department from now on and actually build Ruidoso into the community that reflects the comprehensive plan and what the citizens want.
And eventually also that position, we have other managers that are managing other departments that may be under the umbrella of that position that we could easily, place right under that. And that'd be even like the airport. I mean, we want to,
Sure.
now with the air service that we're looking at, we want to expand the airport. So there's a lot of opportunity.
It makes sense.
One thing with this position, what we like to do is span of control with the director, manager. You can only really effectively manage so many people. And Ron is having to manage too many people because we've grown into these other things. We have so many grants that we're getting for restoration, rebuilding after the fire and the floods. So it's really put a big, heavy workload, and this position would be one of those that would be able to eventually, once we've got them onboarded, they understand, we want to get them walking before we're asking them to do anything, to understand the community, the state. And then, like Ron said, that we have several other departments that could really dovetail under this department.
Right. No, absolutely. I can definitely think of some departments that eventually could fall under economic development. So, what about the CFO position? Will they be supervising anybody? And what can they expect out of this position? Tell me about it.
So the finance director position currently has 12 employees that are under her supervision. Right now has an assistant finance director, has staff accountants. We have our assistant project manager, procurement. So there's a lot of moving parts within that finance director. Of course, with the audits and the budgets and keeping our investments. So that is a huge project. We've had that advertised for over a year, and being in New Mexico, the mayor and I sit on the state DWI grant council board. And one thing we hear when they do their presentations on these grants is there's a lot of entities that haven't spent their money down or they're behind. And the first thing they say is we don't have a finance director.
Right.
So we don't know what to do on that. So
Right.
we understand here in New Mexico that it is a need. And I know you and I spoke about that. So we're just trying to find somebody to come in and be able to take the baton and move forward with the village.
Right.
Our current financial director is due to retire, and so that's why she's leaving eventually.
Right.
She's agreed to stay on with us, and man, we don't want to lose her, but we know we need to make that next move and transition. At one time, years ago, we had over 200 audit findings. That's not good. Now then, we are the darlings. They write white papers about the recovery that Ruidoso's had. We talk to the tax assessors, all of those folks like that were top notch. And so when grants come available, we actually have the funding to take advantage of the grants, exercise the grants. And we're recipients of a lot of grants that other communities can't exercise because of our financial stability. And then just how we have the checks and balances. You don't see some of the things that you hear about in the news on other communities. We're very proud of that with our financial stability and success.
As you should be. But I have a question. So once a new finance director actually comes on board, will there be an opportunity for he or she to spend a little bit of time with your current finance director to enable a really smooth transition there?
I think that would happen. Also, we have a contract with the finance director from another community that we did a small professional services contract where he's assisting us also. We will have to have that person trained within our system, our software system, with the state of New Mexico Department of Finance and Administration, New Mexico Finance Authority, and then all the grants that we have that she oversees when it comes to the reimbursement process. And I do all the reporting and work closely with the finance director on all our grant reimbursements. And then you have through FEMA, you have through the EDA and other federal agencies. So we would have to provide that type of training. Yes.
Okay, very good.
But I do have one other question as the mayor talked about our audits is that, again, we're very busy. When you have a budget of $152 million and how busy we are to have and when the auditors come in and do the test work and to have zero findings, I mean, that's a huge accomplishment, especially
Absolutely.
with travel and per diem. That's what gives me stress is the travel and per diem forms because you have to train. We make sure everybody's trained on that payroll. We have some other employees within the finance department that are really growing and we're doing training on how to input, how to input your time, how to approve time. So we're doing all the extra because I don't like audit findings and make sure that we're working towards making sure everybody is trained.
What a success story, though, with that audit. Wow, that's impressive.
Well, we used to, when outside auditors would show up, it was like going to take a test. If you ever took statistics in college, like I did, no matter how much I studied, I wasn't really sure I had the right answer.
I'm with
And
you.
so it was always like Christmas morning when the tests were displayed on the wall and we're just nervous. We're no longer nervous that if we have an issue yet, we usually self-report it if we found out somebody's been pilfering from the Parks and Rec swimming pool fund, for the candy or whatever, that kind of small stuff.
Right.
And with all the fraud that's going on, the phishing, we have a outside cybersecurity company that does our IT
Nice.
along with an in-house IT because we get phished, I get phished all the time. We have communities around us and across the state that have been defrauded to the tune of, $500,000 and all of these kind of things. And we work hard to make sure that we don't get caught in that trap. That's one of the things that we're so happy with the finance department that we do a lot of cross training. A lot of the staff that's in there, we've been able to recruit that are top notch, smart folks, and it's a good team to lead. The state loves us, all the different things that we do. And we've made a lot of progress in other departments, but without finances and being financially strong and sound, a lot of the other things can't come to fruition. So we realize that's our main focus. And then that we're able to take care of our second, which is water. Those are two things that we're very secure in. It's estimated to be over $1 billion worth of damage in the village and the county through the fires and the floods. And it says a lot that we still have our financial stability, our audit, which we're going to accept it and announce it at the next council meeting, came back stellar. That says a lot about the team keeping track of all the different projects, the teams, the training, all of those things. And so we're very, very proud of our employees.
Absolutely, it says a lot, and I'm glad you talked about that, Mayor. That's important. The last position that we are recruiting for is your water resources director. When I read the job description for this job, it is such a broad scope of work. That's all I just kept thinking, wow, you have to have a superstar in there. They have to know a lot. But so same questions, Ron, for this position. Tell me about this position.
So that position there we created back in about 2016. We had a consultant that was managing our water rights. They did a terrible job. We decided we were just going to create this position. No one else in the state has this position, not to our knowledge anyway. So it's water resource director. We recruited somebody from office of the state engineer. He was the water master in our region. He was the one sending us letters saying that we were out of compliance. Well, we recruited him and hired him. So this one here will manage our water rights portfolio. All our wells, they need to be really, when it comes to the wells, work with our hydrologists. We have all the consultants in place. You need to be very knowledgeable about that because right now we're in a drought and we have concerns when it comes to water.
Sure.
All our watershed, all our water plants, they'll be under the supervision of the Public Works Director. They'll also be overseeing the wastewater treatment plant director. They're also a water resource manager that's part of that. And then we have our water production manager. So they'll be working closely with them. And it's all about water grants. They'll be writing grants, doing our water conservation plans, managing those. So there's a lot for that position. It's hard to find. I've reached out to the state engineer and asked her if it was anybody we could recruit, and she's looking for people. It's going to take a special person, and we've had some people come in and we've hired them, and they didn't work out. So
Right.
And I know it sounds like we're looking for a unicorn.
yeah, exactly.
Maybe we are, but we've had that individual and another too that had to move away to take care of family. But it's somebody that understands conservation, riparian waterways, how do watersheds work. And then we have someone that monitors our water accounting. And if people don't understand New Mexico and Arizona water law, it's the oldest water law in the United States, obviously because of the desert surroundings, but it gets pretty technical. So we have lawyers and hydrologists and all those people to support this.
Yeah.
But we need someone to help us look at the areas, manage the water. When people first moved here to the village area in the valley here in the Ruidoso, it's been here for years. We have archaeological digs going on here that are going back 5, 7, 8,000 years that people have been coming here for the same reason, to get out of the heat.
Uh-huh.
And to get to where there's plenty of game and there's water because we're at the headwaters of the Ruidoso and the Bonita and all of those other little river tributaries. When you get into all those pictures, we need somebody that understands all of those things. How do we best be good stewards of the resources that were given to us? How do we use, not overuse, and just an overall feel of that? So it's going to take someone that may not have all of the attributes that we're looking for, but that have a good grasp on the old identity that we can then continue to move in and train specifically for the village. It's a unique position. I know that we'll find somebody, and it's just that we've had to get outside of New Mexico. This is a perfect opportunity for somebody that likes outdoor nature, working with the forestry, working with the overall workings of water. And what I want to say about this is that at the same time, when we had the audit findings, the 200 plus, we were in trouble with the New Mexico Environmental Department. Remember that? The water. This is back in 2000. When I first got on council, finances were upside down. Our water production was abysmal. Our processes were terrible. The state water guys were on me. The mayor appointed me at the time to be the liaison / whipping boy for the state to come in. And man, I dreaded it because we were deficient. We were the bad boy on the block. We were the bad neighbor. Since then, they write white papers on our processes at our water plants. They're all updated. Our wells, we've worked over our wells. We're always looking, how are we more efficient? We're always doing water leak detection with outside sources. Our wastewater treatment plant is always in the top 2% in the country. And so we spend a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of training on Series 3, Series 4 water license folks in the state. So it's not like this person has to come in and fix a broken wheel.
Yeah.
It's about continuing managing and moving forward with this program. And so that's why I don't think it's a unicorn position. It's going to take some thought process and some confidence. And it's going to be very important that we work with this individual. We get them educated with the New Mexico State Engineer's Office. We have one in Roswell, which is a little over 60 miles away. And then also working with the state engineer to just understand New Mexico law. So this is going to be a long-term position that would be awesome. It's going to pay well, and it's going to be a very important position in the community.
I agree 100%. And I appreciate that explanation, Mayor, because, when you read the description in general, it does kind of seem like a little
daunting. It's like these guys are asking for Superman, and I understand that. But when you break it down into small pieces with the staff that we already have, and you may ask, why don't we elevate somebody to that position? Well, a lot of the ones that we have now are specialized in that department, whether It's the water accounting, which is difficult and technical anyway, about working over with the utility director on our wells, redeveloping, working with our water development specialists on filtration systems, the better way to move water around the community, how to be better, when we have people building, look at the overall runoff. How does this going to affect the watershed in this area? And then help us educate the public. People used to water their lawns around here. It took us a lot of years to educate the folks that you don't do that when you live in the high desert. I mean, this is home with Billy the Kid and the Apaches, the Buffalo Soldiers, a lot of history here. And so it's a beautiful place to come, and we want to maintain that.
And Kelly, also on this position, I mean, and even with the finance director and economic development director, as we talked about before, is being able to having some knowledge of grant writing and grant administration. Those are huge because
Yes.
this water resource director, right now I'm really taking the lead on all the water trust board applications and getting somebody else to learn them and be able to move forward with them. The administration, there's a lot of work. And then also being able to manage employees. That's always a huge one too, is you have to have that. And as you know, as being the city manager, there's not a day that goes by there's not an employee issue. So it's just having to be able to handle employees.
Very true. With that, Ron, you're obviously the administrator. Tell us a little bit about your management and leadership style as the administrator of that lovely village.
Well, I work closely with all the directors and managers. I'm always, going to be there to assist them, and I always have if they needed help on whatever it may be with the issues, or they come to me and I work with them. I have high expectations when it comes to getting projects done or just village business, responding to the residents, making sure if we get an email or a call that we, immediately we contact as soon as we can. Is contact that resident, not email them, call them and find out what's going on. That's the way I always work. My executive assistant, if we get a call, it comes to me. I call them directly, and the first thing they say is, "Wow, you're calling me back already?"
Yeah.
But that really, and the mayor's the same way because we get lots of emails, calls, texts, 24/7. Okay.
Sure.
But I'm there to assist them and help every department there is, whatever we need when it comes to budgets or grant dollars. We work together, and I'm going to make sure that we provide them all the tools, all the resources they need to become a good manager or director.
Yeah. Very good. That's good to hear. So, in closing out this podcast, I would like each of you to answer this question for me. If I'm an applicant applying for any of these positions, what would you expect that I would be prepared for, study for, get familiar with prior to applying and interviewing for this position?
Okay.
Well, I usually do most of the talking, and then Ron has to come around behind me and clean up a lot. But I would tell them, educate yourself on Ruidoso and the region. We're a small community, okay, that has a lot of big aspirations. And so it's a small community. We don't have malls. We have a lot of mom and pop retailers. If you like small communities, those kind of things, it's great. If you like outdoor activities, that's great. You're not going to have the ballet and all this other things. We have that for the little kids, and we have the world-class Spencer Theater that's here just right outside of town that they bring in all kinds of different acts and musicians and things of that nature. But it's a small town, and do some research that we have had some devastation, but note the rebound that we've had. And we do expect results. And that's why we're proud of the things that we've done. And this is local government. And so if you want to be effective and you are a person that likes to serve your community, you're a servant type individual that you like to see things done that affect the people that are your neighbors, the people on the street, you have a direct impact on their lives working through these offices here. And so your efforts are rewarded in front of your eyes. And so I would tell people to look at what the village has faced, where have moved forward, what we're looking to do in the future, and you can be a part of the biggest growth transition in the new Ruidoso and the new Lincoln County, which is all historic. but we're going to move into the next phase of, wow, this is a beautiful place. It was beautiful before, but now it seems somewhat organized. And that's what we're looking for, is somebody that can fit into that family, want to make a difference, and then be proud of yourself when the differences are made. And then we take all the credit as a team and move forward. Make yourself aware of the community, what's going on. And a lot of people know somebody from Ruidoso that have a second home here. We have a large reach all over the country. So you may know someone, just ask them about the village and what type of a community it is, because we're far from ordinary, but we're really close to home. I mean, it's a funny feeling that when you get here, it feels like home to a lot of different people instantly. Some people, it takes them a little bit longer, but we want to do the best we can to make sure that somebody wants to be here for the rest of their career.
And I'll echo a lot of the mayor's what he just stated, and we have a great hospital here.
Yeah.
School district is, I mean, there's second to none on the school district. It is a tourism community. So a lot of times like my public works departments, the weekends you got to work. Something always, if we get a heavy rainstorm, you have to be prepared. You got to go, use the street sweeper, and there's gravel and whatever else we have to do. And also realize that during the monsoon season, it gets pretty hectic, and we're prepared for it. We have a emergency manager with the EOC. We're trained. They'll be training with all that, learning all what goes on with the village when it comes to these events, disasters. We're even like the mayor said, we're educating the public when it comes to disasters. They need to go online, look at our budget, our audits, all our comprehensive plan that's giving you the vision. Look at all our master plans, what our vision is for the village, and what amenities we have with the airport. We have the lakes. There's so many things to do here in Ruidoso, and I always tell every new employee that we hire, I do a meet and greet with them. Finally make that cut to they're going to be starting that next week. I have a Zoom with them, and I say, this is a great career path for you. You can be what you want to be. You can move up with the village. You can, and it's just to me, it's been a dream job. I always tell everyone that this has been a dream job for me. So it's a great opportunity.
I think when you have a servant heart, certainly it was my experience, and it sounds like it's your experience, Ron, that it is a dream job, and it can be a dream job for so many that work in the city and actually contribute to the well-being of the city. In Ruidoso, to the rebound of the city. Yeah, what an opportunity. For anybody that's interested in any of these three positions, my email is on the brochure. Feel free to reach out to me. And if I don't know the answer to your question, I can certainly always contact the mayor, Ron. And with that, do either one of you have any closing remarks?
No, just we'd like to welcome you to give us a shot, take a look. Hopefully that, you'll love this place as much as we have. People always ask me, you're not even a true New Mexican. You weren't born in New Mexico. Well, I was born in the panhandle of Texas. I wasn't fortunate enough to be born in this beautiful nature's playground, but I got here as quick as I could.
There you go.
And this is somebody's opportunity to take advantage of the life that we're living right here. It does take a lot of work to live in paradise, but the rewards, they're just endless. This is a perfect time for growth and direction in this community. And we just welcome you to come and take a look. And we want to hear your 2 cents.
And if anyone's interested, they can reach out to us. They want to go look at the water plants, our airport, anything. We will, we'll do a tour, and we'll provide any information they need.
That's great, Ron. Thank you. Thank you both for being here. It was a pleasure visiting with you.
Kelly, thank you for joining us as always. Mayor and Ron, thank you for walking us through these opportunities and providing insight into Ruidoso and what these roles have to offer. If you're interested in any of the positions discussed today, you can find more information on our website at clearcareerpro.com under Career Opportunities. To our listeners, thank you for what you do every day in your communities. Like and subscribe to The Clear Voice, and we will catch you next time.